Welcome back to Hot Takes. Mark Goldbridge on holiday today, so joined today by KJ in his stead. Loads to talk about today. On the overlap, revealed Man City's new charge. We're going to be taking a look at that. Sesko out for Man United. Is this doom? Is this gloom? Or could it be a benefit? We're also looking at some crazy footage from the Eze goal for England. How this has been allowed to be broadcasted is beyond me. We're looking at the Bellingham abuse, plus are Arsenal going to be cheated this weekend in the North London derby? We've got some big hot takes for you today. Before we go any further, General KJ, how are you?
I'm good. I am good. Yeah, international break settings, you spend some time with friends or family. You don't worry about the football too much. And then we go again because, guys, from Saturday, it is non-stop until flipping March. So, take this time to recoup, and then we go harder in the next couple of months because he ain't gonna stop. He ain't stopping for now.
Bro, I must have had 100 messages in this last week from YouTube. It's going, oh, Terry, how you getting on? YouTube's playing up. I'm really struggling. There's nothing to talk about. And I'm like, listen, I've got enough to talk about. I'm loving the international break. For me, it's a holiday. It's like a mini retirement, as Gary Neville would call it. The rest of us call it a holiday. I'm loving it because there's just a little bit less to do, a little bit less to focus on. But the next 4 months is going to be amazing. But look, we've got some hot takes for you today. We've got some big, some funny ones, some interesting ones, and we want to get your views on these. So make sure you're leaving your comments below. Please get the stream though. Very important that you do that. And I know a lot of you have said to me as well over the course of the international break, Terry, like notifications haven't been coming through as much as you would like. Remember, you can join our notification group chat. I'm actually going to post that into the live chat, and I'm going to pin it to the live comment section. So we post the links to all of our shows when we go live inside that group chat, so you don't miss notifications, because I know YouTube can be an absolute bugger for that type of thing. So if you're in that group chat, you should see that link and be able to push it out. So I'm actually going to share it in there now. So make sure you're signed up to all of that. If you're watching over on X as well, welcome and good morning to you. Please come and join us over on YouTube. That'd be lovely to join the community over here. If not, repost, share, and like. If you're watching on Spotify as well, give us a 5-star rating. If you haven't done that already, share this in as many group chats as possible. It's like, I feel like King Canute over there against all the conglomerates that automatically get pushed to the top of the charts. So help us as much as you can on Spotify as well. This is the first clip I want to play you, and this is in relation to Man City and the new charge. Let's take a look at what's been said here.
QPR found out they were safe.
Exactly. I know what you're going to say.
The Aguero goal, what was that day kind of like? Did you?
Yeah, it was one of those games where I think, as all the refs that week, when the appointments come out on the Monday, we all wanted that game. Just the way the game transpired, just like the emotions. We all thought that City were going to win. I think everybody did, didn't they? And it just went completely the wrong way. And what was strange about it is, we all alluded to what's going on near the end of the game, but once QPR found out they were safe.
Exactly. I know what you're going to say.
And I spoke to Clint Hill about this before. Once they knew they were safe, QPR, I think the game restarted. I think Jamie Mackey's on the pitch and he's going like that, like celebrating while the game's still going on, because they know they're safe. They make it 2-2, and they just kick it back and give it to. And I said, what's going on here? Why are they giving the ball back straight away? We actually said in the earpiece, why are they giving the ball back straight away? Yeah?
They had loads of ex-City and Liverpool players in there as well.
Yeah,
I know Joey done his best to.
I know, but it was just a strange one to kick off.
Come out and he said he was celebrating with the City players after the game, and
like to kick off, give the ball straight back to him. I think Neil Swarbrick before the division, he'll just keep switch on. Someone's going to happen. You just knew someone was going to happen. You could just tell.
There's another charge.
And obviously, a little bit of a joke with us today about the charge element, but like, when you hear an ex-referee talk like that he and his assistants thought it was strange, the behaviour, why they're giving the ball back like that. I don't know about you as a United fan. I know I do. Rooney still has it in his mind. I personally, as much as the charge comment's funny, I know it was 2012. It still gets to me, KJ. It still rattles me.
Listen, I'm so glad they're speaking about this, because what happened that day was an absolute foolishness, yeah? Okay, is an extra charge. I don't think it's an extra charge of Man City. I don't think Man City told QPR to fix it for them. You know what I mean? But as Mike Dean said, they knew they were safe. They had ex-Liverpool, ex-City players.
Yeah.
It was such an obvious piece of, guys, let's just give it to them. Because how you 2-0 up and then you give the ball back at 2-2? Like, who does that? No one in the history of football does that, where they equalize in the last 9 moments of the game and you just boot it back to them and you're just all over the place for the third goal in the last minute. And it's like, oh no, like, we conceded. Oh, no, you don't care. You know you don't care. You're happy. Cisse, I remember him celebrating with those players for Man City. And I was sitting there like, wait, hold on. Something that's not right. Listen, I know conspiracy theories are fun, but this is one of my favorite ones. The tinfoil hat is on. They did that crap on purpose. I don't care what anyone says. They knew what they were doing. It didn't need to happen that way. They made it so. They made it so. So, guys,
I do partly blame to this comment Jerry Barton, but I also blame the referees as well. And I'll tell you as to why. Because if you actually go back and watch that footage, Barton had to go. Barton wasn't the first one to hit out. It was Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez should have also got a red in that moment too. But I'll always feel bitter about it. I'll always feel bitter about it. The same as Spurs fans will always feel bitter when Roy Carroll dropped the ball over our goal line and dragged it out. I'll always feel bitter about the offside goal Drogba scored that gave Chelsea that 1 point advantage over us to win the league title. And people have their own grievances over us, right? But VAR didn't exist in those days. But I think this stuff goes on more than people realize. My hot take on this is part of the reason Leicester won the league is I think the teams from mid-table down partly let them. I remember hearing managers. No, I mean it. Right?
No.
They let them. They let them. No, they let them, right?
Way.
So if you go back, right, we're live, so we can Google this, right? Managers that wanted Leicester to win the league. I remember YouTube was a thing back then, but different, right? There was definitely interviews, okay, and how Craig... No, it wasn't Craig. I'll have to go and find them. But there were managers being interviewed before games. And I want to say Tony Pulis is one of them. Let me... Tony Pulis on Leicester to win the league. Here we go. It comes up on the Google search. It's as good as anyone could ever imagine. It's massive. Nobody would believe it. If I had to pick one, I would love Leicester to do it. So that was in the build-up to games against them. But multiple managers were saying the same thing. It's amazing what Leicester are doing to the big guys. It gives us all hope. And they were turning all these teams over. And again, if it's true, if you believe for a second that those QPR players, especially the ex-City and Liverpool players in the team, went, let's let City win, even if it was just a slightly subconscious thought, is it not then plausible that when Leicester were playing the relegation teams, the mid-table teams, the other sides, clubs of their size, is it not plausible that those managers maybe went, oh, I'll leave this player out today, or I'm going to do this tactic today? Or again, if one's true, they could all be true. Does that make sense? Like
that is true. It would open like the floodgates to all the conspiracies that you can have in the world. Because if that's true, then Fergie could have not paid off, but at least intimidated refs enough.
He did intimidate refs. He did intimidate refs. And I've got nothing. There's nothing wrong in that. What Klopp did to stop Man United getting penalties a few years ago, bad for me, bad for you, brilliant for everybody else. So it's all fair in love and war in that regard. But there's nothing wrong in that per se. I just look at that Aguero moment. Obviously, it kills me. I hate it. But yeah, I agree with Wayne Rooney. New charges need to be issued. Let us get your tinfoil hat out. But I don't know if it is about. But I don't know if it is about tinfoil hats. It does feel normal to me. That being said, I will say when Blackburn won the Premier League, Liverpool played Blackburn final day of the season and beat them. United only had to beat West Ham. We couldn't do it. So it hasn't always gone on in football. I just feel. I don't know. Maybe it's just things people say. Conspiracies mostly turn out to be true.
I don't think that is true. Hence why it's conspiracy.
Yeah. Lizards definitely don't run the world. Like, I don't believe in any of that weird stuff, like lizards running the world and stuff like that. Roy Keane probably intimidated refs. Yeah, but everybody, that's why do you think players do it? So I watched a fair bit of rugby, and England beat New Zealand at the weekend. Did very, very well against them. But we had a player sin binned quite close to the end of the game, 8 minutes out the match, and it was a terrible decision. But as soon as the card went up, he shrugs his shoulders and he walks off the pitch. No one challenges, because in rugby, whenever you challenge a ref, one, the referees are stronger people. Two, when they challenge them, you just get a worse punishment. So for instance, if football behaved like rugby, free kicks given, 18 yards out. Oh, ref, that's never a foul. Okay. 10 yards further forward, that makes it a penalty. Goodbye. If they brought that into football tomorrow, you'd get rid of dissent instantly. If you get rid of dissent, there's no intimidating. You can only intimidate because you're allowed dissent. So all players do is they do everything they can to bend the rules without breaking them to get an advantage in a game. Rugby, and I remember listening to a big rugby debate once on TalkSport where rugby fans were like, football players dive and fake injury and shout at refs, a horrible sport. And it was a rugby, I want to say it was Lawrence Dallaglio that was on there that defended football and just basically said, but if we could get away with it in rugby, we would do it as well. It's the officiating actually that causes these problems more than the players. But there we go.
And also the fans can't be complaining about intimidation, because what did they say? Make the atmosphere hostile. Make it intimidating. Make the ref turn your way because he's scared. No one can complain about intimidation, really, because we all do it.
Evidence for Fergie paying the ref just never happened. They may have favoured United due to intimidation. Well, that's the one thing I always love when I see City fans crying about the 115. And by the way, when are we hearing about the 115?
It ain't happening.
When? And by the way, this ain't a KJ about I need them guilty. I need the right result. If they're innocent, I'll stand by them. If they're guilty, I'm going to condemn them. But it's November 2025, and we still... How long does it take to make an adjudication on this?
They are taking their sweet time with it. They've missed their sweet spot for it, personally. I don't know if they're dragging it on because there's legal stuff in the background we don't know about, and we'll hear it later down the line. Or maybe they're trying to do it for maximum coverage, the build-up to this thing. They've missed their sweet spot window if they're going to do that. You know, it was a few months ago. It was a few months ago when we should have come out in the summer. That would have sent everything into chaos. But now I don't think people really care. You know, like I think people have just gone over it. And I personally think this is a sign that City are innocent. Because you know, if the Premier League had won, they'll be ready to parade that tomorrow. They'll be ready to come out with it, ready to say it. I'm personally feeling Man City are winning. And if it's not getting all of it cleared, it will be all the unimportant stuff that they've got charged for. But the important things, the big things that they're trying to get them for, those things will be won by City.
Or it's the other, or you could be right. I love this comment here. Or it's the other way. The independent panel are going to find them guilty, truly believe they're guilty, but want to make sure that their findings, want to make sure they're right up, and want to make sure how they present their evidence is so conclusive it stands up against an appeal. And it's interesting because they say they're going to appeal, but I did read very early on, and I'd have to go back because we're talking nearly 3 years since this all came out, that there actually isn't an appeals process, but they are going to appeal it, and that's then going to make it crack on again. But we do need, as I said all along, if City are innocent, I'll stand with them, because then for me, I don't like to see anybody, whether I like them as a club, rival or not, have something taken away from them that they didn't do. You know, equally, if they're guilty, I'll be condemning them hard, because I said it all along. If this is why when people go, oh, points deduction today, I don't care about points deductions today. I don't care about any of that. I care about rewriting the history that they cheated to achieve. If they're guilty, that's what I'm focused on. People are focused on today. I'm like, no, I want that gone, bruv. Like, it's a bit like this. Imagine you get to cheat to build a business empire, KJ. You're now a millionaire, and you get caught. You know, you did crimes to get to that point. I'd be so annoyed if you got like 5 years in prison and you come out and get to keep running those businesses and make the money. I'd rather you not go to prison, but lose all the business and income. That for me is the punishment, because that's what you did it for. If City are guilty, they cheated to win trophies. Imagine they get to keep the trophies, have a few years where they don't win because of points deductions, then go back to winning. It basically tells me it's worth. If someone said to me, Terry, United could cheat, win everything for over a decade, you'll then get a punishment, which means you won't win for 2 or 3 years. Then you'll go back to winning. I'm like, well, a lot of teams go through 2 or 3 years without winning anyway. So fuck it. Might as well cheat, right? You might as well cheat. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. But I'm surprised there hasn't been a result of some level yet. We're going to move on to the next hot take on the show today. And what are we going to pivot to? What are we going to pivot to? We are going to
talk about Man City. So there's a City player we can chat about.
What, the Foden thing?
Yeah.
Let me play this video for you. Yes, this is going to shock some people. So I do need to give a trigger warning before we play this. This is quite unheard of. The commentary from England versus whoever we played. Who did we play in that? Serbia.
Yes, Serbia, yeah.
This commentary. Now, I want viewers. I need to get responses from you before I do any of this. I need responses. Can you please tell me I'm okay to play this? This is a trigger warning. I need to see yeses and it's okay. And sort of, what's that word? You have to sign like a waiver. I need a waiver from you to play this. I need that in the comments. Let's go, please. I'm waiting. Let's get the comments in. Let me know that you're okay for me to play. Once we get about 5 to 10 yeses, we've got a yes, play it. Yes. Okay, we're getting yeses. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're good to go, Terry. They're good to go.
We're good to go. We're getting the yeses now. Right. So we're gonna play this for you. It is crazy.
Foden gliding through this Serbian defence. Oh, it's an exquisite pass. Puts on a play for Eberechi Eze. England are 2 up. And it's a tap-in for Eze, really, because Phil Foden did all the work, and that seals the win for the Three Lions. Well, Eberechi, a pretty basic finish for you in the end there, due to the brilliance of Phil Foden. What a player he is.
Yeah, obviously his team's full of quality, so I'm glad Phil could set me up. But I did have a bit of a bobble on it, but luckily I finished the top bins.
And Foden actually set you up a couple of minutes before that with another incredible pass, something only the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Andrea Pirlo could pull off. Are you disappointed that you let Phil down with that one and didn't score?
Yeah, as you say, we've got so much talent in the team that create these chances for us. With that one, obviously I was jumping in mid-air, did well to get a strike on it. Keeper's made a great save onto the bar, but obviously I scored a couple minutes later, so I'm sure Phil wasn't too upset with me.
And Bukayo, coming to you now. Similar to Eberechi, a pretty basic finish, left foot volley dropping out of the sky, something Phil Foden does every week. But did you notice Phil Foden's part in your goal?
Yeah, I caught it well. Something I practiced a lot in training. I'm not too sure how Phil was involved because he was on the bench when I scored that. I thought Nico O'Reilly hit the shot, deflected off the defender, and then I've curled it in on the volley. But
well, yeah, our dedicated Phil Foden cam picked it up from the bench. He actually shouts, "Shoot!" So, obviously, when you're getting commands from world-class players that are better than you, you have to listen, right?
To be honest, I didn't really hear him from over there. I just sort of followed my instinct and took it well. But a great effort from the team today, and hopefully we can bring back the trophy next summer.
Thanks, guys. Great game. Before you go, if you see Phil in the changing rooms, can you get him to send me his sweaty socks? I just really want to sniff them.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
It's funny because it's kind of true. It's kind of true.
Yeah, and what made it funnier for me, it's the reactions he did for the journalist when the players were like, Phil didn't do much, and they're kind of like, what? How dare you say that? It's Phil Foden. It's a brilliant one. And listen, we're gonna talk about obviously another England player in a moment and the country, but this is where my issues are stemming. This is where I get bubbling up and boiled up inside a little bit, because that pass that Foden did was the most simple forward pass that anyone could make in that position. Eze is free on that left-hand side. He slides it over, and Eze does all the work with an absolutely brilliant finish. And somehow, instead of talking about Eze's amazing effort, the technique, the ability to do that for England on that side, they're highlighting a pass that I could make in the England shirt. If I was playing, I could make that pass to Eze. And I don't understand how they've twisted it so much to the point where the England Twitter account, I know they made a joke about it, like in the next game, for I think one of the goals that was scored, but they're saying a tap in. I tap it. Like, do people understand what a tap in is? It is literally you walk up to the ball, you hit it with the littlest, most simple power, and it goes in because the person who put in the ball, did all the work, via it be dribbling or an excellent pass. But that's not what we saw, and that's the frustrating part, because kind of I'm happy for Foden. He hasn't had a great time for England. Last season was his best season. So yes, he got an assist and he played a part in us winning. That's cool. I'm happy for it. But let's not diminish what everyone else is doing. Let's not highlight the minor thing in the play just so you can big this guy up. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was so confusing. I saw it. I just laughed to myself. So, of course. Because if it was roles reversed, Terry, you already know that it was Foden. What a goal! Brilliant technique.
I felt Foden's drive through the middle was good. I felt how he occupied the defenders, because they didn't want to come towards him. They didn't drop off too deep. So it gave Eze some space. I think he played a part in that goal. But the finish, I mean, if you're an XG person, it was a 0.03% XG goal. So there's 3% chance of it going in from there. Now, only 3% of all shots from that area go in. That's essentially what XG means. So it was a fantastic strike. But it was I'm fine with them asking about Foden because the public care. But at least praise them first. Let them talk about their moment first. Then ask them about Foden. It kind of makes sense. It's kind of weird for me. I went to a wedding once, and the bride and groom knew this was going to happen, where one of the bride's friends was going to get proposed to. And it's one of those things where I think if you're going to propose to somebody at somebody else's wedding, it's you must get permission first. And they did, right? She's like, of course, do it. I only kind of I'm not like a good friend of these people. I'm more of an associate. I was there. It happened. Oh, that's nice. It all kind of went off in their friend group, so because the whole day, like, people in their world on socials were posting more about the proposal of a couple, like they were like the power couple of the group, and how it became like their day, and that's all anybody was talking about. And the bride was like fuming. She was kind of like, hang on, like no one's. They told everyone to not post anything about like pictures until they'd posted a few themselves, which is also, I remember I had videos and stuff from your wedding, and I'm like, I'm not posting anything until KJ posts something, because it's disrespectful. So they waited, but in the build up to that, it's all about the guys that haven't. They started posting some pictures, and like all the comments were like, congratulations, but I can't believe Laura and John are now engaged. It was like that. That's how this felt to me. This felt like that, almost as this element of like, it felt almost this element of like, the moment was Eze's, and Foden played a part. He's a side note in the goal, but it became he was the main character of that moment, and I felt that was really disrespectful, you know, and well over the top. Equally, like Nico O'Reilly played a really good ball to Saka, and Saka missed a chance the other day. If that's an assist, the quality of that ball, you praise it, you talk about it, you go through it. But yeah, this one was a massive miss by the media. But speaking of misses from the media, we're going to play a clip here from TalkSport in relation to Jude Bellingham. Let's take a look at this.
A focus on Gabby is your mate Craig Hope on the back page of the Mail, and it says Thomas Tuchel has warned Jude Bellingham that behaviour and respect are key after the England star protested against his substitution. Do we really have a problem with this? I can't understand. I've watched it. I don't think it was petulant. I don't think he didn't have any respect for Morgan Rogers. He played well. He got man of the match. He was disappointed.
Didn't play well. He didn't. He was ordinary. You know, he was ordinary.
But that doesn't change the fact that if someone's disappointed about coming off, why can't they be disappointed about coming off? It's got nothing to do with lack of respect to Morgan Rogers. But
you see the facial expressions there, by the way. You see the facial expressions there. Oh.
Did you think it was petulant?
No. What I thought was, people will pick a little things with Jude Bellingham. Another player does that. It's like, it's not big news. Jude Bellingham didn't have one of his best games, but got player of the match. 80 minutes, he comes off, wants to play every minute. Maybe Thomas Tuchel just need to speak to him and say, listen, like, every little thing you do is going to be scrutinised. When you come off, don't be like slouched down. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Go and celebrate with your teammates. We 2-0 up. So I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's back page news.
No, Craig Hope said this was Jude's chance to show he can be a team man, and he failed. I think that is so unbelievably harsh.
Did you not see during the first half where Bellingham's breaking his neck to get back to a slide tackle to do his defensive duties as a number 10? That's teamwork, doing the hard yards, defending. When he gave the ball away, he was hunting it down, he was chasing keeper. That's the hard yards. But listen, sometimes you can't take people like Craig Hope seriously. You know, he's now doing a bit of Sky and stuff. Maybe the headlines have got him that little gig. So he's always had it in for Jude Bellingham. You can't take this guy seriously. Like you says, let's celebrate a top player. Little things he can do better. Yes,
of course.
Don't throw your arms up when you're coming off, or put your arms up, or slouch down. But we're forcing it a little bit now.
I
It's
agree.
like, leave him alone. Leave the lad alone.
Do you agree it's being forced? Do you agree with Gabby and with Olivia here?
Yeah, I don't normally agree with Gabby on a lot of things. I know we're both from Brum, we're both light skinned, we both have a goatee. But his football takes I don't really agree with. But here, he's bang on. He is being forced, and this whole situation frustrates me because this is the problem with the English media. I don't know what other countries are like, so other people can attest to that. But it's like the English media always needs someone to blame, always needs someone to go at. And it's always the same kind of people. You know, it's always the people that look similar, you know, have a certain look. They have not been able to chat about Jude Bellingham for ages. You know why? Because the guy moved to Real Madrid. He won the Champions League, won the La Liga, he got MVP for that La Liga season. He plays for England. He does well for England. He saves England's arse in the round of 16 against Slovakia or Slovenia, which I forget which one of the countries it was, with a bicycle kick in the dying moments of the game. They've been clocking. They've been waiting to get at Jude because he rejected the mighty Liverpool. He rejected English teams to go to Real Madrid, who I think, personally, is the villain of the foreign clubs for English teams. Harry Kane went to Bayern Munich, but no one cares about that. Because, oh, Harry Kane, nice guy. Bayern Munich, oh, yeah, we beat them a couple of times in Champions League finals. Man United, Chelsea, they've beat them. But Real Madrid, they've beaten Liverpool in finals. They've beaten Man City. They've beaten Chelsea on the way to finals. They've taken down every single top English team. So there's a little bit of bitterness there. And the fact that Jude went there, betrayed the English clubs to go to Real Madrid, poor Targan is back. They couldn't say anything because he was doing well. But now that they've had that Real Madrid had a poor season last year, not to their best. He's not doing the best for England right now. It's like, yes, finally, we can go at this guy. And I'm sitting there like, wait a sec. So we have got probably one of the best central midfielders in the world at what he does. He can defend, he can attack, he can score goals. He can be in all parts of the play. We've got a player that from young was playing from 16 in the championship. He went abroad and has been successful, which not many English players have ever done in the history of football. Name me the last time an English player has won the Champions League for Real Madrid. I think it's been a long time, if not ever, right? So you've got an English player that we should be praising, that we should be putting up and should be supporting, but no, they want to tear him down. And it's frustrating. What? Okay, cool. He has a bit of arrogance about him, a bit of bravado about him, a bit of confidence about him. So what? He's won the Champions League with Real Madrid. He was the best player with Real Madrid for winning the league. Why is it in England that we have to shut down young black men with confidence? They don't mind Saka because he's the humble black kid. He's the humble guy. He doesn't say much. He doesn't do much. He smiles. He's happy all the time. You know, he does his part. It's like the same with Kante versus Paul Pogba. Anyone of color with a little bit of character, a little bit of confidence and bravado in this country, whether you're foreign or domestic, the media will just go at you whenever they can. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. Marcus Rashford, he helps kids. He's been helping people off the pitch. That's not enough. What? Because he has a few chains and he likes to go out. I'm not saying that I agree with all the decisions he's made, but when you see other English players from a certain background do more worse things, they get supported, they get laughs, they get all this celebration. Look at Phil Foden. This is perfect. The reaction to Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham. The over praising for Phil Foden's assist versus the over criticism to Jude Bellingham doing what? Not being happy that he got taken off, maybe not having the best game. Cool, he didn't have the best game, but where's the support? Because when Foden has been stinking out for England for 2-3 years, it's all about let's support Phil. When Phil's at his best, he's amazing. So let's get behind him. The England team needs to be built around him. We should do more to help Foden. But now it's Jude. It's throw him to the wolves, throw him under the bus. It's a disgrace. I don't care. And Craig Hope, I'm watching this brother because it's not the first time either.
The thing with Craig Hope, I mean, this is one of his many tweets in the last couple of days about the situation. It says Craig Hope on why Tuchel should leave diversive soloist Jude Bellingham out of his World Cup squad. It doesn't matter how good a player is. This is why his ridiculous antics threaten England's shot at glory. And for me, I push back on this for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons I push back against this. One of the biggest, and we'll go to the comments in a few moments. One of the biggest reasons I push back is one of the things I've always hated about the media and the build up to England competitions is this idea of one person can ruin it or one person can win it. So in this case, it's if we don't, they're planting a seed very early that if Jude goes and we don't win, it's because Jude's there. That then sets up hit pieces when we go out. They'll find ways to blame him. They'll overanalyze everything he does on the pitch. Similarly to the way Bruno Fernandes looks at, oh, look, he's waving his arms again. That's why we're not winning. Yet, if you actually watch the successful teams, there's players that do that. You watch the relegation teams, there's players that do it. It's not an action that professional footballers care about. You might get a moment like when Sancho turned around and goes, oh, stop moaning. But let's not pretend like Sancho was being the most professional person at Man United to even have the authority to say that at that particular moment. Players at all clubs, successful or not, do what Bruno does. But we only pick and choose which ones we hyper-focus on. The other element is I don't like them building up this narrative that we can only win it if Jude Bellingham plays well. Who went through this? Wayne Rooney. Every World Cup, Rooney will be the guy that wins it. If he doesn't perform, we're done. He didn't play that well at a good few World Cups. Should have even been at a few of them. If you watch his documentary, he was injured. But yet every other player got off scot-free because it was all about let's blame Wayne Rooney because the media built that narrative. And I don't like it whatsoever. There's then the other side of it, which you mentioned already, and let us not pretend that Jude Bellingham's ethnicity does not play a part in this. But as you say, I don't look at him as an arrogant man whose ego's out of control. I see him as a highly intelligent, well-spoken man. And there's a comment here that I thought was very interesting. And this is from Curtis, who says, I heard something about the media having an agenda against Jude because his mum has contracts with some agencies and doesn't want him doing pressers. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. It's one of the reasons why fan media gets attacked on a much smaller scale, and not people like me, I'm talking the big boys, because they don't play ball with the mainstream media and they're bigger than the mainstream media. And Jude Bellingham, if Jude Bellingham really wants to get the message out, he can just do it on his own X, do it on Instagram, release his own YouTube channel and say exactly what he thinks and feels, and they can't manipulate and control it. But this whole thing, what the saddest part, it isn't even about Jude. It's about them making money. It's about them gaining clicks. It's about them generating a story. In the press conference, Tuchel was in such a horrible position. I like some of the discipline elements he's come out with around players got to fight for positions and I'll pick the best team and not the best players. He also mentioned Jed Spence saying, listen, I've had a word with Jed Spence and telling him that, what Jed Spence did after the Spurs defeat where him and Van der Ven blanked the manager and walked off, like that is worth an element of criticism for me. But he said, we're watching that as well. And we've told the players is their behavior for their clubs will impact getting into the squad. I agree with all of that. But there's a difference between that and being disappointed you're being substituted off the football pitch. And even then, I've seen the footage. It was a nothing moment. And if the journalist hadn't brought it up, not a single person, including Tuchel, would have even cared about it because it was a nothing burger that's being blown up. But they're doing it because England are actually very good right now. And their main target was going to be the German. The main target was going to be Thomas Tuchel. And they started that when he first got appointed. But it's been the most incredible, most impeccable, and most perfect qualification for a tournament we've ever had. So the media is like, oh my God, there's nothing. We talk about this over the international break. There's very little to talk about. So therefore, the media start going, we've got 50,000 employees to pay. What are we going to do? We've got to create a noise. Who do they go after? The most famous and biggest superstar currently in the England setup, a player that they can't attack for club. And I also disagree with you on one bit. If he was in England, they would be doing this to him, but they'd be able to attack his club. Imagine he was a Man United player, what they'd be doing to him. It's because these media outlets in England, right, he said it, they have no access or power in Spain. They cannot turn the Madridistas against him because the Madridistas are like, I ain't reading the Daily Mail. I don't care about what you say. And this is their chance because they can't make money out of Bellingham, how they do Saka, how they've done Rashford, how they did Beckham, how they did Rooney. They can only do it now. And the crazy part is not one question from those journalists attacking Jude, not one moment of congratulations to Thomas Tuchel for the qualification campaign. It's an absolute disgrace what he's going through. Everybody will have their different view on the motivations behind it, the reasoning behind it, and that's down to you all. And I think it's a mixed bag, by the way. You know, I think it's a mixed bag and not just one thing. But overall, English football right now is in a really good state. We go into a tournament with high expectations and high hopes, and what we need is togetherness. And where I disagree with that headline more than anything else is Jude being the reason. No, this type of attack from Craig Hope, that's the divisive part. That's the element that can hurt us. That's the element that can damage us. And listen, I want Jude in this squad. I want Jude part of the team. It doesn't have to start for me. I want the best team to start and the best players in terms of form and performances to start. But Jude Bellingham's an asset. To leave him at home, I think would be a disgrace.
Yeah, it would be. And it's just a lack of respect for not just Jude Bellingham, but for the entire team. Because the players deserve praise and the manager deserve praise for the qualification that they've had. Like, why are we not focused on that? This sort of thing, English media love to pick on the negatives when it's possible. You know, when it is possible, they'll pick on the negative. They don't need to talk. They don't need to do that. You've got Eze scoring goals. You've got Kane scoring goals. Like, Kane looks revitalized in this England team. Why are we not talking about that? Why am I not talking about, well, we've got one of the best squads in the world at international level, and this could be a very great World Cup for us? Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we analyzing the teams that we're going to come up against, comparing them? Where can we improve? What areas we need to develop in the nation to get to the promised land of winning the World Cup and the Euros? Why can't we talk about those things? No, instead of talking about the football, it's let's go on a witch hunt for a player who really and truly he don't really deserve it, because he's helped out England more than he hasn't. If we're being honest, goals in World Cups, goals in the Euros, goals to equalize, goals to win. Jude's been doing all of that. So listen, that we could be talking about so many other things, and they always choose the most negative thing to talk about, which is frustrating.
No, listen, I hear you. I really, really do. Let's get some comments here. Patrick says, Gaza is a prime example of how the English media revere a maverick and let someone like Bellingham as diverse and petulant. Different eras, yes, but racism is not certainly an element. It is most certainly an element in this. Look, I think it plays a part, and this is why I say I think it's multiple layered. Some people love tearing down successful people. And I'll give you an example. The one pop star that always stands out in my mind was, what was her name? Cheryl Cole. There was a time where she became like Britain's darling. And then obviously the stuff with Cole happened, and it was like, oh my God, we love her even more. And then she got to a certain size, and then everything she did was ridiculed, and she was slagged off. And that one only stands out in my mind because I remember seeing that one play out, and I knew somebody that works within kind of Ashley Cole's camp at the time. And even the stories that came out about how bad he was to her turned out to not be overly true, but the media were on her side on that one. But it was all part of a media campaign through her agencies and people to boost her up to get the record sales. Once the record sales started to dip, different attitude and behavior. In sport, it's very similar. They build people up and then they knock them down. Sometimes that is purely about making money. And Jude's gone through that where, you know, everything that was said about him was brilliant, but they get to that point, then they want to knock you down. There is another percentage of people that it will be there will be racism, 110% in what they're doing, because they don't like to see a man like him where they are. With Gaza, it's really interesting because Gaza was in an era where sort of footballers drinking the way he did was kind of revered and celebrated and everything else. The stuff that Gaza, listen, I was a fan of Gaza as a footballer, but the things that Gaza did off the pitch, Jude Bellingham could never get away with. Saka would never get away with. You see it now with Jack Grealish. Now, I'm going to say this at the start because I don't want Jack Grealish to get any stick. I've always said I never want to see everybody else's treatment lowered. And one thing that's always annoyed me about these conversations, I remember Raheem Sterling 2018 when the media were going for him. And I remember seeing so many people tweet with the right sentiment, but with the wrong cure. And it was, I want to see Harry Kane slagged off like this. I want to see Rooney slagged off like this. And I'm like, no. You should want to see Sterling treated with the same level of respect as they are, because you want everybody's treatment to be improved, not everybody's to be diminished. That's like what I want the outcome to be. And there are certain Jack Grealish, I think I've got nothing against his lifestyle per se, because I have a drink. You know, I was a young man once and I know what it's like. But I find it very interesting that some players do it and they're celebrated for doing it. Rashford does it. And I criticize Rashford because he missed training and everything else. But other players do it and they're kind of let off the hook. You know, there's that kind of situation. And I mean, I don't like it. There is so much of it that I think is wrong. But equally, Beckham, you know, when Beckham got sent off in the World Cup, everybody's seen that famous picture of the effigy, right? Yeah, what people don't know is that wasn't put up by the people at the pub. The media brought it, got them to put it up, and then took a photo of it. So again, as much as Beckham was getting a lot of stick, the media made it worse by creating these things, and it's gone on before. And that's the issue I have in these types of scenarios. Rooney, when he was like a 15, 16-year-old lad, got taken to a I don't know what the politically correct term for it is now, but a house for the ladies of the night, right? And yes, he slept with. He was the older lads paid for him to sleep with a woman. Turned out to be a grandmother. He got stick for that, and we laugh, right? He got stick for it. But actually, deep this, and let's just put it out there. Men in their late 20s and 30s took a 15, 16-year-old boy out and did that and paid for that. Mm-hmm. Think about it. Like, just forget the name Rooney, and you want to slag him off because he's a Man United player or Everton at the time. You actually think of now, it'd be going, hang on a minute, what are these grown men up to? Taking a kid somewhere like that. That's the. But again, it was this narrative with the media. I'll tell you what the media was like when I was younger. Charlotte Church is my age, and younger people don't watch. And Charlotte Church was like a singing sensation, an operatic singing sensation. She was a kid, and as a younger man, I found her attractive, but she was my age. I think she's maybe a year older than me, something along or a year younger than me, right? Charlotte Church. I want to get her age because it's important. Charlotte Church she's 39. She turns 40 in February, literally the same year at school as me. And when she was younger, I was like a lot of lads. Oh yeah, Charlotte Church, pretty. I find her attractive. So you'd see things in the papers and the lads magazines, and it would be like pictures of her in tight jeans or whatever else, and people celebrating how she looks. And as a young man the same age, it didn't feel weird because I like looking at her because we were both the same age, right? It's not until you get older and you mature, you realize they had a countdown to when she turned 16 so they could show pictures of her bum. It was basically like 100 days to go, 50 days to go until we can share. So it means they've got all these pictures of her to sexualize her as a child, but can't print them. But they had a countdown in the newspaper. Now, as a kid myself, you don't realize how mad that is. That's and then great. You realize, and then again, what they did the same thing to her, built her up, got to a certain level, put her out there pretty, rear of the year and I think she won rear of the year, right? All these things, all these stuff. And then as soon as the record deals stop and she's not as popular anymore, bang, they go into attacking everything she does, looking into the bad things her boyfriends did. And it's the same thing over and over and over. And like I said, there's multiple levels to this. And see, this is the thing, Wade. The conversation hasn't gone left. It's very, very topical. This isn't gone left at all. This is very, very topical to what it is we are talking about. So my point is the media do this to different people from different backgrounds, different genders, different industries all the time. And we need to be mindful of it. We need to be very, very mindful of what they're doing here. Millie Brown is another great example. Millie Brown's a great example.
One I did too as well.
Again, but see, I'm not aware. The Millie Brown one, I saw something on it recently. I'm not aware about the Billie Eilish thing because I'm an older man. I don't read that kind of. When I was younger, I was into what was going on in music and film and followed what actors and singers and rappers did. I don't anymore, so I have no idea what goes on in that world, but I'm not surprised at all. So that's why I push back against the that's why I look back. I look at what's going on with Jude now, and I see it's similar. The way they built him up, it was obvious they were going to cut those, did to Rashford, all of them. They're going to cut the legs from off underneath them. And as football fans, what we need to do, I think, is if they have bad games and play badly, if they do really bad things on the pitch, he stupidly punches somebody and gets sent off and costs us, we criticize it. We also have to recognize the difference. Moving on, actually, we've got a few super chats before we move on. This year says, don't forget Miles Lewis Skelly hates last season. Oh, yeah, absolutely crazy.
And he's slowly getting it now with the whole thing with Tuchel and England and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's mental. Media have to have a black player to criticize, is what Ola says here. If he played for the Premier League, he would have been praised. I think it's the other way. I think it would be even worse, to be honest with you.
I think it depends. If you played for Liverpool, I think he'd be praised. If you played for United or Arsenal, I think it would be a different thing.
That's a really good point. Jeff Sterling wasn't ready for her energy. No, it wasn't at all. Wasn't ready for it one little bit.
Yeah, also, on Jeff Sterling, man's been washed since he left Sky Sports.
They're policing everything nowadays. No, you're right, they are. This was back earlier from Patrick Lynch, who says, I don't believe much in conspiracies, and this is not in reference to City, but almost every other league in Europe has had at least some sort of corruption or major scandal. In 30 years, the Premier League has had zero. Hard to believe.
Yes, think, people. Open your eyes. Something is going on. We need to find out, man. You're right. Everyone's had scandal. Like, even Turkey, half their refs got flipping banned because they're all betting and stuff. Hey, listen, you gotta open your eyes, people. Something's going on. Something has to be going
on. Listen, I hear you. You've got to look into these things. There's no doubt. Next clip, we're gonna. Well, actually, no, not next clip. The next thing is more of a post here. So I want to look at this here, and viewers, if you haven't seen this, you got to take a look at this. So Michael Oliver is set to take charge of Arsenal's game versus Tottenham, the North London derby, this weekend. This is going to be the first time he's refereed a game since he incorrectly sent Miles Lewis Skelly off in the game against Wolves in January. Plus, it comes straight after the game where it has been almost universally agreed upon that the goal by Van Dijk was wrongfully disallowed and should have been overturned by Michael Oliver and VAR. This is on the back of all the sort of challenges and the conflicts of interests. And I don't know about you, KJ. I look at this and think they set themselves up for criticism, don't they, the Premier League? Out of all the refs they could have picked, it's the one who sent Rice off last season and Miles Lewis Skelly gave the disgraceful VAR decision to not overturn Van Dijk's decision, even though it's now been proven by multiple ex-referees, an independent panel, and pretty much every ex-player and the majority of football fans that it should have stood. The kind of punishment for those mistakes is Arsenal's big game, the first match after that incident, right? When there's accusations of corruption, you're getting Arsenal-Tottenham. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like they feed into this. They must know. They must understand what they're doing, Like, we're just literally talking about conspiracies and corruption and stuff. Let's talk about it, because when we had a discussion, Terry, about the Premier League orchestrating the opening day to be Arsenal and Man United, and they put the pressure on for the storylines, all these different things, people are laughing and saying, the Premier League don't do that. They just use a random generated schedule. That's what it is. You guys are just being conspiracy theorists. Why is Michael Oliver having this game? Where's the logic in that? Either they're incompetent, either they did do it randomly and all the games are scheduled randomly for all the refs, or they know what's going on. They see it, and they see what's going on. They see the controversy. They see the amount of look at us. We're talking about it right now. You know what I mean? They see all of this, and they use it to keep their eyes on the Premier League. Listen, Arsenal fans, I'm not saying it because they're trying to stop you from winning the league. I don't think they're trying to stop anyone from winning the league because they need a league winner. But what I'm saying is they just want eyes on the Premier League and they don't care who gets hurt by it. So all the poor refereeing decisions, all the poor scheduling, because hasn't Crystal Palace got like 2 games in 3 days or something because of scheduling? Like all these different things that they do, assigning refs after controversy to big games. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it to keep their eyes on their prize, which is numbers, money, viewership. And they know what they're doing with Michael Oliver on this game. They know Arsenal fans hate him. They know Spurs fans hate him. So yeah, I think they're doing this on purpose. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake.
Yeah, and it's one of these things. I mean, look, this here says all top gooners are getting their excuses ready for when they get slapped up by Spurs. And I think depending upon the outcome of the game, how good Spurs are, how good Arsenal are, what happens in that moment. Sometimes I don't live in that world. I don't live in the world of it's just the ref. Liverpool, when they lost to City, I criticized so many things about Liverpool that day, but I also called out their refereeing decision because it must be. A lot of people don't like to live in the real world. A lot of people like to live in the polarized version of the football world, which is I'm only going to focus on the I get Liverpool fans, for instance, in the moment going, I don't care about the refereeing decision right now. My team's in bits. That's a bigger issue to me. That makes sense. But most of those same Liverpool fans, once they calm down and they relax, were like, actually, I've got to look at this decision now. 2 things can coexist at the same time in football conversations. And I just look at this, and sometimes in life, there's this element of you just don't need to put him in charge. You don't need to put him in charge and fuel this conversation, because Spurs fans might go the other way as well and say, well, what if Oliver now overcompensates because he doesn't want to look like he's cheating and gives Arsenal a few things that are a little bit dubious and a little bit soft? And this is the problem with all of with the PGMOL. They lie to us constantly when they make mistakes. We saw it with the Van Dijk goal as an example. We saw it with the Gyökeres, so that impacted Liverpool. We saw it with the Gyökeres penalty decision. And we've shown on the Football Terrace and on my personal channel, Terry Flewers TV, go and check it out, the examples of where they've gone the other way and rejected the notion of movement can put a goalkeeper off, where they've rejected the notion that getting a very slight touch on the ball is deemed winning possession. And they go completely the opposite way and try and pull the wool over our eyes. And then they create these new precedents. We've seen that. They allow Michael Oliver to go off to the UAE. Now, I don't believe, even though City's ownership have a hand in that, I don't believe they've paid him to cheat. I don't believe it's that simplistic. But I believe that if somebody has given you lots of money in the past and there's a possibility of it in future, it is so likely you have a bias within you. And it's just normal. If one of the random people in the comments section is going through some trouble in their life and they need some money, and I private message them and say, listen, there's how much you need. I need a £2,000 or I'm going to lose my house. And I go, oh, there you go, mate. There's $2,000. Do you think if they're voting for a football content award and my name's on there, do you think that won't play a part in their thinking? Do you not think it will? Of course it will. And I think that if they were refereeing a game of football I was in, Terry's probably got to go there, but he sorted me out once. Do you think that can't be either consciously or subconsciously in your mind? Absolutely. Which is why the Premier League should never have allowed it to have happened. Because you've got to remove that thought process. It's why an independent body needs to review the performance reviews of the referees. What are the internal practices? Is there a way of rotating referees more around Europe so that these biases don't creep in? We know biases exist because all the ex-referees talk about it. We know they do. They've spoke about it on the podcast they go on. I just look at this and think I'm not saying Arsenal will lose. I think Arsenal will win this game. I think Arsenal are going to win this game comfortably, 3-0. I think Arsenal are going to win comfortably. But they put this in, as you say, it's like a side dish. It's like a starter. It's like something extra being added to the occasion to create a conversation. And they don't need to do it. They don't need to do it. It's a mad one for me. It's a real mad one. This here says most English refs are crap. This is true. Michael Oliver literally dampened the excitement of games for nearly all fans of all teams. I hear that. I hear why you would say that. Terry, I want a new Lambo. Please help. Obviously, it was very much that. But I also,
someone said I'm broke. I'm broke, Terry.
You know my point here, Terry. Just if you know how many controversial decisions Oliver has given against Spurs, stop with this Arsenal bias. Hang on, but did I not just say that it could go the other way as well?
Yeah,
Like,
no one's saying this because he's gonna screw up Arsenal, but saying it because he's gonna screw up the game in general. And that's the main point with this whole conversation with the referees, especially. It's not I personally, and I think Terry as well, it's no longer about it harming one particular team. It's the fact that it's harming all of us. Everyone gets screwed over by these referees. Everyone gets screwed over by the Premier League and the way they schedule things, the way they assign refs and all these things, the way they introduce VAR and how they operate it. Everyone gets screwed over about it. So all of us need to look at it and be like, listen, this is not right. It's not right.
No, you're absolutely spot on. It ain't right. I mean, I'm just talking also about the narrative, the feeling people have with everything that happened in that last game. Even with Arsenal, of course he's got to referee Arsenal games again. But why one of the biggest Arsenal's games? Why one of their biggest games on the calendar? Why that? Bring him in slowly. It doesn't need to be a game where the emotions are going to be high, the tension's going to be high. They're playing on the Sunday, not last. United are last on the Monday, but City and Liverpool have already played. And it isn't about you guys. And as I've already said, Terry O'Shea to Terry Fluids, as I've already said, he could overcompensate the other way. And we might see that, and I'll call it out, because I call out decisions that go in Arsenal favour as well. The handball, Odegaard, Liverpool, as a prime example. Said it should have been a penalty. Sorry, I said that it should. Yes, I said it should have been a penalty. So, Man United's offside against Arsenal. I still believe that was onside. I think they got it wrong. I think they messed the lines up. So I have called them out as well as an example. I literally said it, but because your brain went into this, it's called cognitive dissonance. You went, oh, he's defending Arsenal. You stopped listening. Your ears shut off and you started typing. And if you'd just stayed relaxed and listened, it would have been covered. I just think this is a mistake by the Premier League. So recently where I live, about 30 minutes away, I woke up, and I don't really use Facebook, but I've got a party happening soon, so I've sent out some invites. And I was on Facebook, and a local thing popped up that the sheep were mauled by a dog overnight. And I know it's a dog because lambs might get attacked by a badger, potentially. They might get attacked by a fox, but these are big sheep. It's going to be like a domestic dog. We don't have wild animals in England. Just for everyone, we don't have bears or coyotes or anything like that. And there's like 4 or 5 that got mauled overnight. And the post was up about it. And the person whose dog did it kind of handed himself in, and it's a criminal offense, handed himself in. And the dog's not going to be put down because actually the owner's getting more trouble because certain dogs have what they call prey drive that's very hard for them to control. But essentially the guy kind of left a comment, and I was like, he released a local statement, right? And he was sort of like, my dog's never done it before. I thought it'd be okay. He's shown a few signs that he wants to start chasing things, but I thought it'd be okay, and I let him off the lead anyway, and he did it. And that's how I feel about this. It might be okay, but with everything in the backdrop, with the potential risk and the fallout, just don't do it. Don't let Michael Oliver off of his lead, because he might run into the hen house. He might chase those sheep. You know what I mean? So yeah, just don't do it. Stay away from it. You don't need the controversy. Just let the football speak for me. But yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans are gearing this up. They think they might be robbed this weekend.
Yeah, they think they're going to be robbed every weekend. Like, that's the one thing I'll say about Arsenal fans. Every ref's got it out for them. Like, I do not believe in the conspiracy of referees and the Premier League and the FA and the PGMOL are trying to screw Arsenal specifically. They will be screwed because everyone's like, all the refs are just frustrating. Spurs will be screwed in some way, next week as well. So yeah, like Arsenal fans, it's one of those ones. Stop crying. If you cry wolf every week, everyone's gonna stop believing you. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with this here. It says, Terry, why would the refs help us out when the Prem wants us out of the league? Confused. Great point. And this is my answer to it, and I hope this makes sense. I don't believe in any direction to stop Arsenal winning, to hurt City, to kill Man United, to stop Spurs. I don't believe there is a PGMOL-wide conspiracy where they all get together and they make a decision on who they're going to hurt. What I believe can happen is individuals can develop favoritism towards one team or club and a bias towards another. Why do I believe this? One, if you're being paid by people connected to a certain club, absorbent amounts of money to referee one-off games, do appearances, etc., that can play a part. Shouldn't be allowed because it's human nature not to purposely cheat, just to look favorably towards something that pays you and helps you. The other side of it is I've heard Graham Poll, Mike Dean, Gallagher, and multiple ex-referees talk about biases they held against certain managers, David Coote, Klopp, players. Poll spoke about this with Roy Keane and the like, but they've even spoken, and Graham Poll spoke on this, and I think Howard Webb confirmed it too. Their whole biases against crowds. Maybe a crowd that gave them a lot of stick, sung a horrible song. Maybe they get confronted by a group outside of ground. They've said they've held it against them in the next game. So this is where, for me, I've said it before, I think Arsenal fans, Spurs fans, Liverpool fans should stop pushing this huge sort of Illuminati level conspiracy theory against their club, because it falls upon deaf ears. People go tinfoil hat, lizard people, calm down, Mr. Da Vinci Code, right? I think what this is more about is a combination of incompetence and individual biases that ruin situations. And I think it's far more likely that a referee or two might have a betting issue than they do a PGMOL-wide conspiracy. That, for me, is where people get lost in this conversation, is they go down the Illuminati route. Right? Yeah. And that, for me, is the crazy element, because I don't think it's that deep. But I think there are ways where
it sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if the refs are biased towards crowds that give them stick, then Arsenal fans naturally always give refs stick. So then that might lead them to give them more bad decisions, which then leads them to get in more stick. And it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a cycle where does it end? So either the refs got to do their job properly, which we don't trust them that they will, or maybe Arsenal fans just need to just ease up a little bit and see if that changes. I don't know. I don't think it will, but hey, like
that's also part of it, which is why I think you should be calling out. It's what I've said for ages. My energy towards this is to call out the incompetence and the failings and the lies they tell us, as opposed to necessarily pointing fingers and saying you must be betting, or trying to stay away from the pejoratives that people call individuals, because, as you say, it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way. This year, but doesn't that reinforce the fact that VAR and on-field refs should be separate? So these biases aren't allowed to impact the game because the correct foul safe is there. I completely agree. Lou, you're absolutely spot on with this one. And what we've also heard in recent weeks is we've heard Howard Webb, and this is why it doesn't get called out. And this is why I don't think the Premier League should do its own show interviewing them. They should let me do it, right? And that's a shameless pitch. But we heard in the Gyökeres penalty being disallowed, the VAR pushing the referee to make a decision, which they're told they're not meant to do. It's either got to be they re-referee it independently and can override it, or they recommend the referee goes and looks over, but they can't hear what they're saying. But every time someone is told to go re-referee it, 99 times out of 100, they give the new decision. Therefore, it's being re-refereed anyway. It's, as you say, it almost feels nonsensical, and it makes people angry. So I hear you 100%. Maybe I miss your point, but that's how it felt to me. I see it at grassroots level with refs that are favoured by clubs. No doubt it happens at the top. Well, do you know what a reason why I know this happens? If I said, do you know who John Fashanu is? You don't know John Fashanu. So I swear he's brummy. John Fashanu, he was a good footballer. His brother actually. He hosted the original Gladiators.
Oh, really? Matt.
Yeah, he said there's no way. He was brilliant. He was a very good player. He played for Aston Villa, but not for very long. He was a Wimbledon player and a Millwall player primarily. Good player. Scored a lot of goals, but in his career, I think 149 goals in 400 league games. Very good player. Yeah, his brother, God rest his soul, was the first football player to ever come out as being gay while he was playing, and he tragically took his life because he couldn't handle the abuse that kind of came with it. And very famous player in his day, like through the late 70s and 80s. And but he was a dirty player, good player, but he was a filthy bastard on the pitch. Like he'd crunch you. And I listened to him talk once, and he spoke about what he would do. He'd learn all the refs' names. He'd get a team of his club to go, I need you to get the wife's name, kids' names, where they go to school, where they go uni, dog's name, what's going on in his life. And he built up this relationship. And it would be, oh, hello, John. How's Margaret? She all right? I heard she had, she had a bit of a scam recently. Is she okay? Oh, good to hear that. And how's Molly? Is she getting on well at Cardiff University? Studying art, right? He'd do this thing where he'd build up a relationship, and every time, and the refs were always like, oh, he's nice, isn't he? First horrible tackle that should be a yellow. This is the 80s. You had to shoot someone to get sent off. He'd do 2 or 3, should be getting a yellow. But John said this is what the ref would do. It'd be like, come on, John, mate, calm down. There'd almost be this, but he did it on purpose. He influenced them by being really nice to them. So that for me is normal. And again, Twist is a very clever man. It was. But the fact that I know that went on is why I can't push back against the idea that refs don't have a bias, which is why there needs to be an independent review. Because if an independent team goes in, hang on a minute here, the modern day John Fashion, who let's just say it's Joe Bloggs, he's committing 4 or 5 fouls a game like this and no booking whenever Oliver's his ref. But any other player does one of these tackles, they're booked instantly. There has to be a review of this to make sure that bias isn't creeping in. And I don't believe any of that exists. That's why we have the problems at the highest level for me. And you are right. The mental game is as important as this. Do you know what I find funny about this comment? The mental game is as important as the physical one. It's funny how Standards FC disagree with this, although Standards are all about mentality. I always, they don't talk about mentality and passion and pride and working hard. It's all about your technique. Yeah, you go on about Standards. I love those people, man. They're the biggest walking contradiction on earth. They know the game will get more views with Michael Oliver on the pitch. Take my money.
Yeah.
I hear you. I wouldn't be surprised with that whatsoever. Now, are we gonna talk Sesko? Are we not gonna talk Sesko? Or we talk Semenyo?
Real quick. We don't have to play the video, but we can.
Well, we'll play the video. Take a look at this, please, people. Let's take a little look.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. This goes out for a month. We are finished. We have got no number 9 to come in and replace him. Don't say Xerxes. He's a 9.5. Even try and put on Burmo number 9. I was hoping it'd be like 3 weeks, so like he would have had the Tottenham week and then these 2 weeks, but why?
We're finished. We're out. I think there's some copyright music playing in the background, so I stopped it a little early. But are Man United finished because Sesko's out?
No, we're not finished because Sesko's out. We weren't, but we haven't begun anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like we've begun to be finished. No, listen, Sesko's going to be out. It's a frustrating thing, you know. Like I feel like he's been needing a bit more game time to try and help him get into swing of things. He's going to have a period on sidelines, and then we're starting again with him because he started off slowly already. He can't play in these games where we're coming up to a period where we're going to have 2 games a week potentially every couple of weeks. So it would have been very useful for him to get some game minutes under his belt. Would have been good for rotation as well. And it's just a shame that he's gone injured right now. So I don't think we're finished. We've got options. Listen, I like Xerxes as a player, but for Man United, I'm still not sold on him. But he can play there. Cunha can play number 9. You know what I mean? Like maybe we bring back Obi because he's being kind of put back into the academy. Maybe he gets a bit of a call up again, get him to see how well he's developed. So we're not finished. I just think this is go on.
So an update just in the last 2 minutes from Fabrizio on this. He said that Man United staff expect to have Benjamin Sesko back training with the group at the beginning of December. So that's less than 2 weeks' time. The striker is expected to be on the sidelines for around 3 weeks. Not serious, long injury, as reported 10 days ago. So it's about, so I was saying this last night on the United Stand. Remember people, I'm back on there today at 8 p.m. Is that when it said he's out for up to a month, my question was, is that a month from now or is that a month including those 2 weeks?
Time, yeah.
And it sounds like it's that because he's going to be back on team training in the next 2 weeks, which means that's the one good thing if you miss a month at the beginning of an international break, 2 weeks of it, you're not playing football anyway. So sorry, mate, back to you.
If that's the case, then we'll be fine. We're definitely not finished, you know. Like Man United, we're we're doing okay. We're doing well for where we thought we could be. Sesko, I believe, has helped with some of those results because he's got goals, he's got assists, he's had his overall play has been decent in those games. It's been a bit of poor run of form, but he'll be fine. Back in December, we'll have 2 games a week towards the end of December, going into January. We'll be fine. We're not finished, but Man United fans need to relax. We can't do this every time something happens. It can't be, yes, we're going to win the league because we won a 3 in a row. And it can't be, oh, we're finished and everything's over because someone's injured for a month. Like, we need to just chill. You know what I mean? We just need to chill. We are not finished, but we're also not on top of the world. We are where we should be right now.
No, I hear that. And to Lou's point, up to a month. The reason there's a little bit of confusion, Lou, though, is because Sky posted out for a month or a minimum of a month, and then they deleted it and reposted it. So if you're someone that's read that and then moved on, you may not have seen the update as an example. But look, I said this last night, and the viewers helped to change my mind a few times on the United stand. I'm gutted he's out injured because I want to see him play. I don't think he's been anywhere near as bad for us overall as people are making out. I think he had a poor performance against Forest and then a disastrous substitute appearance against Tottenham. And what that led to is all of the people that didn't like him in the first place had an opportunity to attack him, where prior to that, there was no ability to attack him because he'd held up the ball well, he'd played well, scored some goals. So it very much became a case of, oh, now's my chance to pounce. We've seen this in the Arsenal fan base with them blaming Arteta for Gabriel picking up an injury for being overly used, although they're the same fans that have moaned that he doesn't use his stars enough in the early rounds of cups because he doesn't take them seriously. It's the sort of, I call it poisoning of the well. It's no matter what the outcome is, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to find a way to attack the manager or the player I don't like. And I think there's a bit of that. The good thing about him missing the next couple of weeks, I think it takes him out of the limelight. And that may not be the worst thing for him, because if he played against Everton and didn't score, he could play quite well and not score. All those detractors, all those fake Man United fans, the flux regs, as I call them, would be on his back again in a ridiculous way. And I think he needs our support. I think you can criticize bad moments, but you can be supportive within your criticism of people. You can always do that, as opposed to absolutely hanging him out to dry. So it's not good for him, but I'm glad it isn't an ACL as many people were reporting on a few weeks ago. That's a real positive thing.
Yeah, it is. And hopefully, if Xerxes does play, he gets to perform. He gets a chance to show why he should be in the team, and we win games. When I argue about certain players in the United team, it's not because I dislike them. I like Xerxes, but it's when people say Xerxes is clear of Sesko and he's got every attribute in football, he's better than Sesko. And I'm like, okay, come on now, let's not do this, because the same people saying Sesko's not good enough and Xerxes should be starting are the same ones that saying last year was rubbish and everyone was crap. So it's kind of like, well, we just had a 3-goal a season striker in Xerxes play for us last season, and Sesko's 2 goals behind him. So how is he so much better than him already, if that's the case, you know? So hopefully Xerxes comes in and does well, and then we can have 2 options for once, you know, in the striker position. We can have 2 options where we've got Sesko and Xerxes both playing well and we move forward. So that is my hope. But will I expect that? No, because I've seen Xerxes in the Prem and he's a one of the 10s in my opinion. He's not the out and out number 9.
Yeah, I'd put, I know what the manager's going to do. Cunha go into that position, Mount comes into the 10, everything else stays the same. What I would like to see, Cunha go into the 9, Bruno into the 10, Mainu into the midfield, especially at home. Again, listen, Everton are a good team, but I'm confident we win this weekend. We play on the Monday night. I'm confident we win. I'm actually looking forward to seeing United play a night game. It feels like ages since we've been under the floodlights at Old Trafford due to not being in Europe. But that's what I would like to see him do. But I think we all know the team he's going to pick, barring injuries. It's going to be Cunha in the 9, Mount 10, Casemiro, Bruno, central midfield. And we go from there. Lou here says, I would like to see Xerxes with Cunha and Mbumo. He earned a chance after last week's comeback. Do you know what? I think I'd like to see, one thing I would like about Xerxes being given a chance is what that does for the running off the ball. Mm-hmm. So in terms of Xerxes dropping deeper and those 2 making runs into the box, I'd love to see how that works and how we actually, especially at home where there is not less pressure, but the crowd's behind you. I wouldn't want to experiment with that away at Palace. If you're going to try that, I would do it now at home in this first game. But yeah, I didn't agree with that. I don't think we're finished, like people say. I agree with you 100%. I think we've got to be calm. I think we've got to slow down. I think we have to. We can't always be overreacting in this way. I think we need to just, again, we could finish this weekend fourth. But the reason why I'm calm is if we then lose to Palace in the next game, we could finish that weekend ninth, depending on results. It's so close, it fluctuates. Mm-hmm. Yes, optically it looks good when you're in second, third, fourth, whatever it may be. But I'm just looking at it very much as let's focus on remaining unbeaten. Let's focus on winning more games and go from there. Kenny here says 50th unbeaten game versus United. That ref was biased because there was 3 refs on the pitch. Even the linesman did not raise the flag for the kicks and fouls. But you know why that was? In my opinion, it was. I know they got bans for it, but do you remember when Van Nistelrooy missed the penalty the season before and was jumped all over and essentially he was physically attacked on the pitch? Never seen it before, never seen it since. That was crazy. And at the time, I hated it because it was Arsenal players attacking a Man United player in Rude that I loved. As a grown man, I look at it and I understand, tensions are running high, that's sport. But I think there was a bias on that day because the referees got so much stick for not doing at that moment what they should have done, which was send all of those players off what they did to Rude. Like if you did that now, if all those players did now what they did to Rude, they'd all be off the pitch. So I think sometimes you can get a decision go in your favour. It causes massive outcry. Referees are then inclined to go the other way and do something else. So these things certainly happen, Kenny. They certainly happen in football. There's no doubt. Cloudflare seems broken. Yeah, I've seen a few websites have gone down actually this morning. I think X is now back up. If you're watching over there.
Oh, was X down? Damn.
Yeah, it's back down again now, I think. I think it's not working again. So quite a few websites. Yeah, Cloudflare, whatever it's called. But YouTube and StreamYard don't need it, which is a good thing. So
first, who was it before? Was it Google websites or Google Workspace? Who was it?
Well, it was Amazon, AWS.
AWS, first it was Amazon Workspace. Now it's this Cloudflare. Damn. Getting these cyber attacks all over the place.
Yeah. No, I'd see. I just want to check one thing. That is that game. It was 2000.
Yeah, apparently a lot of news sites are down. Interesting. Well, it's a good thing it's international break because there ain't nothing to be updated on right now, So
yeah, no, you're right. I think that game. No, that 0-0. That game in 0-0. I think it was 0-0. That match. So I want to make sure I'm reading something right. I might have read it wrong. Let me go back. When did that happen? It was a late penalty that he missed. Yeah, it was quite late in the game, in the 91st minute. It wouldn't have made too much of a difference to the game had those players been sent off. But yeah, it was crazy game. But those kind of biases happen. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show. We're going to be live later today for Straight Facts. This is going to redirect you to that. We've got LB on, Positive Dan's on, and we have David on the show with us as well. Aaron will be back. We're just having a couple of weeks of Aaron off the show just after the big clash last week. That's what we've decided to do. But Aaron will be back with us in a couple of weeks' time. There's no doubt about that. So get yourselves across to that now. Make sure you're liking it, you're bookmarking it, and you're ready for that later. If you're watching over on X, if you are still watching, get yourselves across to YouTube. Join the community. Join the family right now, please, people. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.